All right, let's get into it. So this video, I'm going to kind of try to change it up a little bit, get away from all the political BS I've been talking about because, like I said in the past, I don't want this to be that. Try to change my setup a little bit, give it more of a cool pizzazz and funk. I was hoping that we would have the city skyline behind us, but we got that winter storm coming in, so we don't got it, but I still think the lighting, the switching it all around at nighttime and stuff looks way better, so we're going to roll with it. What are we? My phone just died. We are like 7 days away from the first month, or from the first month of the year, the end of it, I guess. You guys can figure it out. But yeah, we're 7 days away from the end of the month of the first year. There we go. And I want to kind of switch it around. I wanted to kind of watch some clips from this recent podcast, or I guess it was shot right before the end of the year. The Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett. And then Chris Williamson. He had Chris Williamson on there. And if any of y'all have ever followed Chris Williamson from Modern Wisdom, you know he's very big into self-help, just doing better overall. And so I kind of pulled a few clips from it. I think I got like 6 or 7 clips from it that I wanted to go through, and then just kind of give my own thoughts and my own opinions and everything on that. So if y'all will bear with me, I mean, the clips are, I think they're like 2-minute clips that I pulled, and then I think the longest one on here that I have is maybe 4 minutes tops. So yeah, let's just jump back into it. Real quick, again, disclaimer, I know absolutely nothing, so feel free to correct me if I misspeak, if I don't get anything right, whatever. Feel free to correct me. But yeah, let's just jump in, and hopefully by the end of this, you guys have a little bit better idea of who I am, what I'm trying to do, and where I'm at currently in my life. So let's jump into this first clip here, and we'll get rocking and rolling.
And do it. I guess the question that everybody should be asking themselves is, what should I aim at? And is there such a thing as aiming at too many things? What is a good goal for change? And when you think about all the people you've interviewed and the change you've seen in your own life, what does a productive New Year's resolution or productive goal sound like? And how do I get there?
Yeah, it's very overwhelming. If you realize, wow, I can do anything I want. I could look at my entire life. That's terrifying. That's absolutely terrifying. One thing I would say, this is your opportunity to change anything. Behaviorally, you can change anything you want. Not everything you want, right? That's the problem. You can become anything you want behaviorally, but you can't be everything you want. So you need to pick a small number. The single best question to work out what you should be doing next year. What would have to happen by the end of 2026 for me to look back on 2026 and consider it a success? I think that really helps to just give you a bit more perspective. And it usually comes down to only a few things. You don't usually have so much in your mind when you do that. Setting the bar unrealistically high does not increase your performance. Imagine this. Imagine that you went into a buffet and you made your plate as big as possible. You said, I want all of these things. I'm going to put all of this stuff on my plate. And my stomach is going to expand to be able to fit it. That's not the way that our stomachs work. And that is not the way that our workloads work. So, first rule, in order to pick something up, you have to put something down. Don't assume that just because you've loaded more onto your workload plate, your work capacity will expand to be able to fit it into your stomach. Now, that's not the way that it works. Make the assumption, I can do no more than I'm doing now. I can switch stuff, but I can't add more in. Maybe you can. Maybe you're going to be able to squeeze your phone time. Maybe you're going to be able to become more efficient, more productive, whatever. But it's safer to just assume this is the pie that I'm playing with. And in order to pick something up, I have to put something down. So that's a really important thing, because at the moment, it's December 29th. I'm full of gusto and motivation, and I can't wait. I'm going to crush it. And yeah, for the first week, maybe you've got that. But if you're using motivation and enthusiasm to work yourself through your goals are predicated largely on a fuel source that you don't have control over. You don't have a massive amount of control over your motivation over a long amount of time. Like it comes and then it goes. You want something that's a little bit more rigid. So in order to pick something up, you have to put something down.
I think that's a really important point. Because
So yeah, I just want to, I mean, that's the first clip, and I probably will start stopping these in between as they're going, just to kind of give my own thoughts and opinions, because I'm over here thinking, and then I'm going to get lost as it keeps going. But I guess just right off the get-go, what he was saying, you can only, and essentially only set one goal for the year, and I'm very, very guilty of, the filling up the plate at the buffet and having so much to eat that you can't do it. Like I mentioned for a brief second in my very first video, my failed DJ career, I think looking back on it, one of the kind of things that overwhelmed me the most about trying to do it was you're not only trying to produce music, but you're also trying to run a social media. You're trying to post clips. You're trying to create content. You're trying to send emails out to different labels and stuff. You're trying to shed love, as they described it in school, that on all these other different artists and stuff. And for me, I think I overwhelmed myself way too much, that it pushed me away, I guess, from what I really was trying to do, which I thought was just making music in the beginning. And so for me, just right off the get-go, very simply, my one goal, I think right now, is to do this, shoot one video a week, not put all that extra pressure on myself saying, I need to create a video every day and get it out there to chase the algorithm, or, post 3-4 times a week, whatever it may be. I'm not doing that. I'm trying to keep it very, very simple for myself. Shoot one video a week, get it out there, see what happens. Because honestly, it's kind of fun when you first start. It's a good time. You got all the lights set up and you create the little cool background, got yourself on camera, and so right in the beginning, that just spoke to me so much, because when I analyzed it and I look back on it on myself, I realized maybe the overwhelming of yourself is a lot of the times what drives us away, essentially, from the one goal we actually want, and he gets into this and kind of breaks down a little bit more. So I don't want to skip too far ahead of myself, but I think, essentially for me, that one goal, that one drive I want to have set up is just post the one video a week, sit here, talk to the camera. Hopefully along the way, some of y'all will join me on this journey, but hopefully at the end of the year, I can look back at my YouTube channel and have 52 videos posted, 51, 50, whatever it may be. We'll give ourselves the holiday weeks or whatever, but looking back on it, hopefully at the end of this year, to consider it a successful year for myself, I want to see that I have, 48 to 50 videos posted on this channel. And for myself, I'll consider that a successful year. Yeah, like I said, I'll probably start stopping these. That way I don't skip too far ahead of myself, or I don't lose track of my thoughts as I'm sitting here listening with you all, and Chris and Steven are speaking. And so, yeah, we'll just jump over here into the next video and we'll keep it going.
Rated.
The other thing that I love that you talk about is when we talk about metrics of success, you talk about observable metrics and hidden metrics of success.
Yeah, so a lot of the time we'll trade a hidden metric for an observable metric. Something that's observable would be your job title, what your salary is per year, how many people know you, your bank balance, the size of your house, the car that you drive.
Things people can see.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
The only way that your success can be judged is outwardly. So naturally, we trade something which people can't see for something that they can see. For instance, lots of people would trade a longer commute for a higher salary or a better job title. One of the problems that you encounter with that is that the length of your commute is one of the most correlated stats with your happiness. Longer commutes reliably make people more miserable. And what's the hidden metric that you've lost by doing that? Well, that's less time with your family, with maybe your kids that are growing up, with your wife to connect. That's less time to pursue your own passions, even if your job is your passion. So what about a more stressful career? Going to move into a different industry that's way more stressful, but it pays more. observable metric. What's the hidden metric? Well, what about the peace of mind that you have as you go to sleep at night? What about what that does to your health and the quality of your relationships and your ability to be present on a weekend?
So, I mean, just right there, just to stop it for a second, me and my girlfriend were just discussing this earlier, sometimes I think we're all kind of guilty of it, of constantly chasing this idea that higher wealth leads to higher quality of life. And as I've kind of grown older, I don't think those go hand in hand as much as I used to think. I used to try to chase the idea of a big house, 2, 3 fancy cars out in front of it. And now, even in the position that I currently am in, I currently run a web company, but then at the same time, I'm running a second job that takes 4 hours out of my night. So my days don't end until 11 o'clock at night sometimes before I'm even in bed. And I'm constantly within that battle for myself of, is it worth it ultimately, because just like Chris is saying here, you sacrifice so much, and sometimes those sacrifices are the things that in the long term are going to mean the most. You're sacrificing your sleep, you're sacrificing the relationships that you're trying to build, you're sacrificing your peace of mind ultimately, because when you're just chasing this idea of money, thinking that money is going to solve everything, it tends to just take a toll on all of us. And for myself, as I've gotten older, I'm trying to fight that internal battle ultimately of really pinpointing down what is it that means the most. Is having the nice car, the nice house, is that going to mean more than having strong relationships at the end of the day, having that peace of mind of being able to go to bed and not be stressing about the next day? And so, I mean, I think that right there is a phenomenal point, just what he's saying. And I think it's within us all to actually have to sit down and just take a step back and look at that and really analyze that within ourselves of what matters most, and does what matter most, can that essentially be bought? Can that be solved with money? And to be honest, I haven't even answered that within myself, but I think that's just a really great point that we all should probably spend a little bit of time thinking about and trying to figure out.
Weekend, because you're not able to turn your phone off because your last job was 9 to 5, but this one is 24/7. Well, it's difficult to say because you're like, people want and need real resources. I want to improve the quality of my family. That's a noble thing to do. But after a while, you have to admit, if you already live a comfortable quality of life and you trade it, you trade your happiness or your peace in order to get more, you're making a bad choice, because you're going to sacrifice something that you want, which is happiness, peace, connection, for something that's supposed to get the thing that you want, which is money, job title, bigger car.
Which I think links to,
I mean, right there, you chase the money, that just takes away from your time, that takes away from a lot of things that most of us really want to do. We all chase that idea of, if we work harder, if we work longer, that should ultimately, A plus B equals C, and A being that time we spend at work plus the hours that we put in should equal ideally more money. And a lot of the times I think that we think that more money, that overall upside to it means a better quality of life. And I'm starting to just think a little bit more and more that really doesn't apply anymore. I guess I shouldn't say we, but I know for myself, that idea has always been one that I've chased the most, that if I can produce, a higher income, I can have a higher quality of life. And now, as I've, thought about it, I don't think ultimately that is always the truth. I mean, we all can kind of see the examples that are out there in the world, of celebrities, of our idols that we look up to, and you see the stuff that they go through, the I don't know what the word is, but the scandals that a lot of these celebrities that we put up on this pedestal go through, and we think, man, they're driving the Ferrari or the McLaren, and they're living in the hills, and they have this multi-million-dollar beachfront property, but yet they don't have, family that loves them, or they're hooked on drugs, or they're alcoholics. And you just find this within yourself, asking yourself this question: how can somebody like that be living or doing something like that? And I think ultimately it just comes down to they're truly unhappy within themselves. And I think that's what Chris is trying to say here is it's up to each of us as an individual to make that decision, or not even a decision, but to determine that for ourselves. Do you want the money so you can have all these materialistic things, or do you want the time? I mean, one of the things I was always told, is money can buy almost anything in this world, but the one thing that money cannot buy is time. And eventually we're all gonna punch our clock out, and that's it. So, I mean, yeah, we'll see, but let's keep it going here.
The Mexican fisher.
Yeah. Parable of the Mexican fisherman. An American businessman was away on a holiday in Mexico, and he got taken out by a fisherman. And he asked the fisherman, so what do you do each day? The fisherman said, I spend each morning out on the water, I fish a little, I catch some food, I take it home, and I sit in my house with my wife and my family, and we eat what I've caught for the day. The American says, that's stupid. This is a stupid idea. What you should do is you should get a bigger boat, and then you could catch more fish, and then you could go sell it at the market. The fisherman said, why would I do that? He said, well, once you've sold it at the market, you could buy some more boats, and you could get your friends to come and work for you, and then they could catch more fish, and you could start to sell it wholesale. The fisherman said, why would I do that? So, well, then you could create a canning factory, and you could export it back to the UK, and you could have a huge business. The fisherman said, why would I do that? So, well, then you would be able to retire and fish a little on a morning, catch some fish, and then spend the afternoon with your family. And it's the same lesson as Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist, which is this young boy goes on a huge, big journey, and he finds out the thing that he was looking for was in the back garden all along. But that's an unteachable lesson. And the big lesson behind The Alchemist is going on a massive journey to end up back where you started is not the same as having never left. And this is what an unteachable lesson is. You have to go to the top of the mountain to get up there and go, oh, damn it. Damn it. Like, I thought that was going to be the answer. But now that it's not, I can rid myself of that. I've crossed it off. And it's so unpopular. It's so unpopular to talk about this online because everybody that doesn't have a thing assumes that the thing will fix their problems and that the people who have got there, achieved it, and say that it didn't are ungrateful. Like, oh my God, the thing that I want, and they're just casting it away. Like, how dare you? How dare you say that the thing that I know I want isn't the answer to my problems? And yet, reliably, everybody that gets there says it's not the answer.
Yeah, and again, I mean, I think that story, or whatever you called it, of the Mexican fisherman can be put into any aspect. We all chase this right now. I have an older brother and a sister-in-law who They own a commercial cleaning company, and they're in this right now, this battle of trying to grow it. And right now, I mean, for most individuals, they would look at them and be like, man, you guys haven't made, you only work 6 hours a night, but during the day you get to spend all day with your kids. You get to show up at their school plays, you get to pick them up from school, you get to see them in the mornings, make them breakfast, to hang out. Once the kids are off to school, you and your wife get to sit there and enjoy each other's company and stuff. But as they're trying to grow this and build this up, you realize how much more effort it's taking. So now, the mornings you could have spent sitting there just hanging out, enjoying each other's company. Well, instead now you're sitting there answering emails. You're sitting there running interviews. You're sitting there going through finances, and it's these unteachable stories or these unteachable lessons that I think we all go through, because we can all sit there and be like, well, yeah, so-and-so said that having the big car or having the big house and the fancy car and the supermodel girlfriend or whatever, it didn't make me happy. What would have made me happy was spending more time with my mom, spending more time with my dad. But ultimately, we don't ever realize that until the opportunity has flown past us. And then we just sit there looking back on it, and you continually try to just reemphasize this to, your children or your younger brothers and sisters, your cousins, your nephews, whoever it may be. And I think that idea of those unteachable lessons is something I want to sit more on, because I don't want to become, the 85-year-old man who's sitting there thinking, man, I should have listened. I shouldn't have tried to chase just the money my entire life, because now I have the money, but I didn't form a single relationship along the way. I lacked all this happiness because I didn't take the time to go to the school play of my niece or nephew. I didn't take the time to show up at the birthday party, because it's kind of like he's saying there in the Mexican fisherman story. It's this cycle, you start at point A to essentially just kind of wrap right back around and end up right back at point A. And it's, again, all that time that was wasted. And it's ultimately comes down like, what was it for? Because now we have the money and stuff, but you can't buy back that youth. You can't buy back that time. I mean, yeah, science and all the advances in medical technology and stuff, I mean, they're getting to the point where they can kind of bring back the youth. I mean, hell, look at Kris Jenner. I mean, she's a 60-year-old, 70-year-old lady, whatever she is, and I mean, she looks like her 40-year-old daughter. So I mean, there's some things that we can get back, but I mean, ultimately, how much of the life that means the most, or the moments in life that mean the most, can we buy back? I like that idea that, or it's not even an idea, it's a story from a clip that I saw one time, and he was asking him, how often or how old are your parents? And the gentleman says, my parents are 70 years old. He's like, okay, well, let's say that the average lifespan of a human being is 80 years old. Well, how often do you see your parents a year? And the gentleman says, I see them once a year, during Christmas. And he's like, okay, so now let's put that into a simpler form. Let's put that in digits. If your parents are 70 years old, you see them once a year, and let's say they're going to die at 80, that means you have 10 more times that you're going to see your parents. And again, you can have all the money in the world. You can have the Ferrari, the big house and everything, but none of that's going to mean jack to you when you go to lay your head on the pillow at night to go to sleep. I mean, it's just not something that money can fix or money can buy.
Matters of productivity. Do you think much about this? Because again, this time of year, people are thinking about procrastination, productivity. They're trying to get more done. They're trying not to doom scroll so much, be on Netflix, waste time. And I think a lot of the guilt does come from feeling like we're unproductive.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a wonderful idea called productivity dysmorphia. So it's the inability to see your own success. It's like to acknowledge the volume of your own output. So it sits at the intersection of burnout, imposter syndrome, and anxiety. You think of it like ambition's alter ego, basically. Like the pursuit of productivity spurs us to do more while robbing us of the ability to savor any of the successes that we achieve along the way. So first off, people are not particularly good judges of how productive they are. I think so many people are whipping themselves into submission, saying you're not doing enough because in the past that motivated them to do more.
Yeah.
And after a while, you have to accept, I'm doing quite a lot. And if you were an athlete on a sports team and your coach only ever pointed at you when you made a bad play, you wouldn't feel particularly motivated by that. But a lot of people have this sense of productivity debt. They wake up every day feeling as if they're already behind. And only if they dominate their entire day perfectly can they drag themselves back up to some minimum level of acceptable output.
Man, right there, I feel like he's calling me out just on that alone. I deal with that every single flipping day, and I don't have a hard job, but I strive for success. I mean, I tell people all the time, one of my biggest fears in this world is just ultimately being a loser, you know? I don't want to leave this world knowing that I could have done so much more, that I wasted my days away. And so I get filled with that anxiety, that feeling, that wake up every single day and you're suddenly chasing the clock because you only have, the 12, 18 hours of your day to do something. And so no matter how much I do, no matter what I accomplish, at the end of the day, I still look back on it and I'm like, man, you could have done more. There's still this to do. There's still that to accomplish. There's still, paperwork that could be filled out. There's still busy work that could be done. And even if that busy work ain't done, there's still just something out there you could chase. I mean, that's one of the reasons I started this. I figured I have the time, and even when I don't have the time, I mean, that's right why I'm shooting this right now at 9:00 at night. I mean, I always just have that feeling like so much more can be done. And when he's putting it in this sense of it's that anxiety that just kind of sits in between, because we're terrible judges of our actual productivity and how much we actually accomplish. It makes me realize, maybe you should give yourself a break sometime, because I mean, there's some days you might be killing it, and some people might look at you and be like, dang, that guy does a lot, and I don't do near as much as he does. Or that girl's killing it. She's running her content creation, plus she's working her job, and she's doing A, B, and C. But ultimately, I guarantee you, she's probably feeling that exact same dang way. That we're terrible judges of our own productivity, of our own successes, because we're all chasing that bigger picture. We're all chasing that larger goal. Even with starting this, you look at these guys right now, they're sitting in this dope ass podcast studio. They probably got 10 different cameras shooting from 10 different angles. And so just even that inner fear of starting just this from scratch with one podcast and, 2 lights, shooting my dang sliding glass doors as a background, it's you want the end result before you're even willing to take the initial start, the initial jump, because you see you're trying to mimic what you're saying, which, I mean, you guys may have seen in my past videos. I try to mimic, Ian Carroll's layout of how he breaks things down. And so that's one of the reasons I just wanted to kind of do this video today. Is it's just a little bit of a spinoff. I mean, I still am trying to figure out what exactly I'm going after, what exactly I'm trying to make this be. But yeah, I mean, I'm right there with them. I have that feeling almost daily of, you can be doing more. There's still a couple more things that could be done. You didn't accomplish anything today, especially if you don't wake up feeling like, or go to bed at the end of the day feeling like, man, I killed it today. I killed it, because chances are 99% of us don't really ever go to bed thinking, man, we killed it. I accomplished everything I could accomplish today. Nope. I mean, that thought's in our heads all the time. Like, well, I should have maybe had the chance to do A or B or C, whatever it may be. And so, yeah, that just imposter syndrome, we're sitting here trying to put together a podcast, but ultimately still right now, I mean, I'm just a guy in my living room talking to no one right now. And so, yeah, I'm right there with them on this.
And only then can they go to sleep that night without feeling like a loser. This means that your set point is loss. And the best thing that you can do if you crush the day is get to a draw. You never win. And then there's this sort of weird drill sergeant in the back of your mind that's saying, all right, you can have a little bit of a break now, but just so you know, as soon as you wake up in the morning, it's all going to happen again. And, I'm speaking to a very particular type of mindset here. There is a huge cohort of people on the internet who do need David Goggins screaming in their face, telling them to go harder and sort their life out. The sort of people that listen to your show and listen to Modern Wisdom are probably not in that camp.
Do you know what's surprising? I am in that camp. I'm in the camp of productivity dysmorphia.
Mm-hmm. Of course you are. Why is that surprising? Look at what you've built. How could you not do that if you were seeing how much you did?
I can't really think of many days. And just for context, when I wake up in the morning till 2 a.m. at night, I'm working. But I can't think of many days, or really none come to mind, where I've got in bed and thought, you were productive today.
Fucking crushed it.
You met the standard.
Productivity debt.
Yeah.
You woke up feeling like you're already behind.
100%. Because of yesterday and the week before and the month before and the to-do list.
You see your own shortfalls from a front row seat, right? And this is one of the curses of people who have big dreams, goals for themselves. The size of their goals is always greater than their ability to deliver them. And we assume that by having very, very, very high standards for ourselves, that's what is it? Shoot for the stars, and even if you don't get it, you'll end up on the moon, something like that.
On the clouds.
Yeah, whatever. That's great for a while, and it's very good at the beginning of your journey. But after a while, I think you just need to give yourself a fucking break, dude. Like, people are destroying themselves in this perpetual sense of not enoughness. They're always chasing the next thing. So all of that is for me to say that people want productivity, desire productivity. I'm just trying to say, you're probably working real hard as it is. That being said, how much do I think about productivity, and how can we
Yes, I mean, he said it. I probably honestly took what he said from watching this already in the past and hearing it, but yeah, I know I definitely can't even count on one hand, I think, how many times I've laid down at night and been like, man, you crushed it today. You killed it. You knocked it all out of the park. And so I think it's not just me. It's definitely not just you. It's definitely not just these guys. I mean, I think it's good to hear, especially when you see what these two have accomplished. I mean, let's just take a look right quick. It's not going to show up right here, but I mean, this video right here alone with just the two of them has over 2 million views. And so, I mean, it's freaking bonkers. And to hear that even these guys, don't ever go to bed thinking that they crush it. I think again, it's just we got to cut ourselves a little bit of slack. Realize, hey, we're all just humans. We're all still trying to figure this out along the way, and there's just not much more to it.
I've read in your newsletter as well as it relates to productivity. It's just this idea that a lack of confidence kills more dreams than a lack of skill. And confidence, I think, is maybe one of those big foundational things that sits at the very top of the stack of dominoes to be able to do anything, which is like, do I?
Right there, right off the rip. I mean, I love that. The lack of confidence kills more dreams than the lack of skill. I mean, I'm sitting here still feeling awkward just talking into the camera by myself. But you have to start somewhere. No matter what you want to do, whether you want to, lose weight. I mean, that's one of my bigger things I've been trying to get back into this year is being more consistent at the gym and getting myself back into a gym routine. And thankfully, I'm relatively fit already. I'm very fortunate and blessed in that sense, but I can't imagine the feeling that somebody that weighs, 250 pounds has walking into a gym for the first time, walking in there and seeing the monsters that are in the gym, the people that are squatting 300 pounds, the dudes that are benching, 2 something, just the behemoths or the marvels of human specimens that are out there, and you're just this 250, 300 pound person. I mean, I can't imagine what that has to feel like, but at the same time, you have to almost, in a sense, appreciate that, because it might not even be confidence. It's just the drive or the want to jump in there and say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to change for the better. We've all heard the stories of the person who, they spent 6 months, a year on that routine with that consistency. And now look at them, they're 100 pounds down and they may not even be done yet. They're just getting started. And I think that's ultimately where it all comes back down, or where it all comes around to. What they're trying to say is you can't just let the idea or the bigger picture of what the goal that you're trying to achieve deter you from essentially just starting. Because going back to what I said, I mean, I'm sitting here with one camera watching these guys that have 10 cameras, an entire full-blown studio, and I can't let the idea of seeing, these guys, or, a Joe Rogan and Ian Carroll and the followings that they created be the whole reason that I never started. Because it's, how would you ever know if you don't ever at least take that first step? How would you ever know what you're actually capable of if you don't take the first step? I mean, you don't just wake up in a multi, $1 million, $100,000 studio just because one day you decided that you're going to start the podcast, especially if you don't have the means. I mean, ultimately I would love the ability to interview other individuals. I would love the ability to have people come up in here, even if it's my own dang house, and sit here in front of my glass sliding doors and ask them questions, ask them how they got to where they are. And right now, I guess I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to get there yet. So my first step, my first leap, I guess you can say, is doing this right now. Just me, the camera, and the microphone, and I'll find videos for now and talk to whoever's willing to listen until we can get there.
I actually believe I'll be able to.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me give you this. I think a lot of people assume that self-belief is kind of the answer to what it is that they're looking to do. You can just do things. You can just do it anyway. You can do it tired. You can do it with no self-belief. You can do it when you don't want to. You can do it when you think it's not going to work. You can just do things. And I've learned that you can have no self-esteem and show up anyway. You can have no self-belief and things still go well. Ryan Holiday says, self-belief is overrated. Generate evidence.
I mean, right there, it kind of just shot me down in everything I said, but in a way, you guys kind of backed it up too, because I guess self-belief or confidence essentially isn't enough, because I can sit here all day saying, I bet I could kill a podcast. I bet I'd be a phenomenal podcaster. I bet I'd knock it out of the park if I did it. Cool. Keep saying it, but until you show me, it's going to lead nowhere. It's not going to get you to where you want to go until you start doing it. Nobody ever got drafted to the NBA because they sat around saying, I'm a badass basketball player. I bet I could do better than, I don't know, I don't watch basketball, but I mean, LeBron James, I bet I'm better than LeBron James. Cool. I bet you can be, or I bet you are, whatever, but show the evidence. Show the evidence. And so for me, I mean, I think I could be good at this, but I'm never going to know until I start recording the videos, pressing play on the camera, and posting to YouTube. We're never going to know if we don't start generating the evidence. So
fuck yeah. I want evidence. I want an undeniable stack of proof that I am who I say I am. And I am the poster boy for imposter syndrome, dude. Like, I never assumed that I would amount to really anything. But I'm pretty stubborn. And being stubborn has meant that I've just kept showing up. And that stubbornness feels even more in reach than consistency. Consistency is pretty in reach, right? Don't miss 2 days in a row. All right, well, fucking write 500 words a week. Start a Substack and write 500 words a week. You can probably do that. You can probably find 500 words a week. It'll take you half an hour. Write 500 words a week. After a year, you're a writer. Congratulations. You're a writer. You have the license to be able to call yourself a writer. How fantastic. And then, who knows, in 4 years' time, you've got Penguin came knocking. Maybe there's a book deal for you. How fantastic. Now I'm a published author with Penguin. How fantastic is that? But it starts by just going, I'm going to see what happens if I do this little thing.
So interesting.
yeah, right there. I mean, I'm right there with Chris. I'd consider myself the secondary person in that picture of the poster boy for imposter syndrome, because I mean, again, what have I really accomplished that means anything? I mean, I'm not going to show you guys my resume or anything, but again, no matter what I've done or what I've been able to accomplish so far in this life, you still feel that, just that irk in the back of yourself saying, you shouldn't be doing this. You can't be doing this. I mean, again, it just comes down to this one damn camera in front of me, and you feel almost ridiculous talking to yourself, talking to the internet, you know, and you feel like a faker. You feel like you're lying, like you're cheating yourself out of what you should be doing. I should probably actually be sitting in a factory, or should have stuck through with the military and just made a career out of that, you know, rather than thinking, oh, I could do so much more with this life. And so I'm right there with them. If I'm not at least the poster boy for imposter syndrome, I'm definitely one of the secondary little characters that you see in the background of the poster. So
that's what I meant when I said problems are a feature of life, not a bug. Like, there will be no day when you don't have any problems. And railing against it.
I mean, just right there, right off the rip. I mean, shoot, I've been working especially real hard this year, trying to make every single day a good day. And I don't even think even doing that is enough to defeat. I like how he references it as it's not a bug either, or problems aren't a bug of life. It's a feature. Just like, you know, if you think about a computer program or you think about a video game that you play on the Xbox or whatever it may be, problems aren't ever going to be a bug. It's not just something that sporadically happens out of nowhere. It's just simply a feature of life. And so even if you go through the entire day, you know, the second you hop in your car to run down to the gas station or to go out and pick up some food or something, you're going to come across that one a-hole that pulls out in front of you in traffic or whatever, and they just are going to cause you to want to lose your shit, because it's human nature, I guess, in a sense, to want to get upset at that and lose your mind and let it piss you off. And some people, I mean, we've seen the videos on the internet of where road rage can lead to. It's absolutely bonkers. But like I was trying to say from the beginning, I do my very best to try to make, especially this year, I've been trying to do my very, very best, which we're only, you know, 24 days into this year. And ultimately, you're not going to have a perfect day. I don't care who you are. You're not going to have a perfect day. So problems are not just a bug of life. They're a feature. And I think it's up to each of us as an individual to figure out how to solve those problems, not let them impact our lives in the sense where it's ruining days, where it's causing you to make drastic decisions that could ultimately change your life, anything like that. It's just up to us to figure out how to resolve that. Again, whether it be the a-hole in traffic that cuts you off and you just have to be like, it's not that big of a deal. It is what it is. Or if it is, you know, something freaking drastic, you know, I mean, that's the most minute problems of what can throw off our days. But yeah, I just think that you have to, I don't know. I mean, for me, I have to, you know, almost prepare myself in the sense to understand that shit's going to happen. And no matter what you do, no matter how much you try to prepare yourself, no matter how much you pray, no matter how much you try to put good out into the world, you're going to have freaking problems. And it's ultimately up to you to become your own hero, because a lot of those problems that we face, nobody else can solve but us.
Why is the flight delayed? Because flights get delayed. That's why. And did you think that there was going to be a day when no flights were delayed? That you were going to reach some escape velocity where this was no longer an issue? I love this analogy using escape velocity. Imagine that we've got a rocket ship here. So when this is taking off, on the launch pad is when it needs the most energy. The inertia is the highest, the resistance is the most. So that's when you need to use whatever fuel you've got. Use the chip on your shoulder from the kids that bullied you in school. Use your desperate desire to be seen by that girl out there. Use your need for validation from your parents, whatever it is. And then what happens is, the old school style rockets, not the new Falcon 9 ones. What happens when this takes off? This fuel source switches off, and then the booster rockets come on. That's as you get to a different level of altitude. And now you're using a different sort of fuel source. And then this falls away, the bottom falls off, and it keeps on going. And then it gets into escape velocity. Use what you have at the start. And at the start, most people have way more discontent than they do love.
I mean, even this ties right back to New Year's resolutions, because if I am going to make a change and reach escape velocity, then I'm going to need to focus all my energy and therefore save leakage. Like, save wasted energy in this moment of time. And I've heard you talk about this when you do your annual review, that, again, it goes back to what I was saying, like, you do need to cut some shit. And you can't have it all at the same time if you are going to change your life.
This is one of the problems of overcooking.
Yeah, right there. I mean, I like kind of what Steven was saying, which I think Chris brought up at the beginning of the conversation, that a lot of us, when we make those New Year's resolutions, we think that we're going to add on to life. So, you know, we're already working, 8 hours a day. We're still walking the dog. We're still trying to hit the gym. We got to make dinner. We got to do laundry, wash dishes, whatever it may be. But then at the same time, we make those New Year's resolutions and we're like, and this year, I'm going to start doing A, B, and C. Well, what he was essentially saying in the beginning is like, you can't add on to what you're currently doing. You have to take away. I mean, we only have a finite amount of time in each day to accomplish whatever we're trying to accomplish. And so you can't just, continue to add on and think that you're going to get on to all those, because I mean, it's like statistics show, within the first month of the new year, 90% of people fail at their New Year's resolution. Within 3 months, the other 9%, or not even 3 months, I think, or whatever it is, within 3 months, the other 99% or whatever it may be fails at their New Year's resolution. Only ultimately, I think 6% of people actually stick to their New Year's resolutions. And so you can't just add on. You have to be willing to cut out or sacrifice something for whatever it is that you're chasing after. And so for me, for example, trying to, put out one video a week, one discussion, one YouTube a week. For me, like these right here, just reviewing and stuff and just talking off the dome, no really written script, no blog points, no thing to go through, no real research needing to be done. These are a lot simpler. This is a little bit more fun, but to do like my past video over Garland, Texas, that took me probably 3 days of research, and to even be able to put those together, you have to be willing to cut off something else. And so for me, I've been trying to be very, very weary. I mean, I'm a YouTube fanatic. I don't have any other social medias, but I love YouTube. And I mean, I'm guilty of getting stuck in the scroll of the reels, or just hopping podcast to podcast, or going down crazy rabbit holes. And so for me, it's I've had to be observant or be mindful, I guess, of how much time I'm spending watching these things, or what I'm doing with that time during the day, so that way I can make sure that I do have the time to research these topics that I actually want to go into or that I want to discuss. Because the information is not going to come to me any other way, especially not in a way to make it make sense or to be entertaining or whatever it may be. So
your goals for the next 12 months, I think you can probably do 2 big things in 2026. 2 big things. You could probably lose 20 pounds and get a boyfriend that you really, really love. You can't do that and move cities and start a new business and learn to play the piano. No. And that, again, is why don't go into a buffet and assume that however much food you put on the plate, your stomach will just expand to fit it in. Because what you're going to guarantee is that you fail next year. You can almost guarantee that you fail at doing this thing. Is it great to set your sights high? Yeah, that's real cool. And maybe you've got lots of things that you want to do, but just what would have to happen by the end of next year for you to look back on it and consider it a success? And what if you created a rank-ordered list? And we're like, okay, I need to kill one of these. And you left yourself with 1 or 2. What's left? You'd only do one thing next year. Cross that off, cross that off, cross that. What am I left with? Oh, I really want to lose the weight. There we go. Now we can break that down into individual steps. I need to get a gym membership. I need to get some cool gym wear that makes me feel good as I go to the gym.
I've heard you talk.
Yeah, and just what I said at the beginning, I mean, just going back to my failed DJ career, again, I think I put way too much on my plate, but I also don't think it was, I guess, explained well enough to me or taught to me in this sense of what he's describing. Because if you told anybody who's trying to do anything, I mean, again, let's just go back to the DJ example. Let's just say you want to become a DJ today in 2026. Well, you need to be producing music. You need to have a social media presence. So you have to be creating content. You also need to be reaching out to labels. You need to be trying to collab with other artists. On top of that, with collabing with other artists, you need to be creating a fan base. You need to be responding to that fan. I mean, right there, right off the get-go, that's 7 different things added on to the one thing that actually matters, which is creating the music. And so your plate's already slammed full. And so you're guaranteed to fail, especially if you're going into it brand new and you have no flipping idea what you're doing. So I really, really like how Chris is saying, which is one of the, I think the best things that I actually took away from the little musician school I was doing was that, write down, the 10, 20 things that you really want to be able to pursue in life or that you want to chase after. And go through and start crossing off the things that don't mean the most until you end up with those 2 or 3 things that you really, really want to do. And once you have those 2 or 3 things, because once you're sitting there at that final 6, or at that final 4, you're going to really figure out what the heck you want to do. And I think that's just a really good, I guess, simple, true or realistic practice that we all can do, get a piece of paper or put it in your dang phone note, and write down the list of all the things you want to be able to accomplish in this world, whether it be, buy a nice car, own a house, travel the world, get married, have kids, write all of this down. And then go through that list until you get to that 3 or 4 that actually mean the most to you. And then only focus on that 3 or 4. Because chances are the rest of those things on that list, just again, due to time, the one thing we can't purchase, you're never going to get to them. So I like how what Chris was saying there would just, you can't overfill the plate at the buffet and just expect your stomach to grow, because that's not how humans are built. That's not how time works for us. So
what's the most important things we haven't talked about that we should have talked about, Chris, as it relates to this time of year? The strivers who want to make change, become someone else.
Stop taking life so seriously.
This is the second to last video right here for us.
Like, no one is getting out of this game alive, literally. In 3 generations, no one will even remember your name. And if that doesn't give you liberation to just drop your fucking problems for a moment and find some joy, I don't know what will. Like, life is inherently ridiculous and guaranteed to end sooner or later. So you might as well enjoy the ride.
Do you know your great-granddad's name?
Nope. Do you?
No.
People don't like that idea, and I get it. Maybe you will be remembered for generations to come. But just assume that you don't. This is this deferred happiness syndrome thing, dude. Like, don't wait. Life really is happening right now. There is this belief that once life's duties are out of the way, then you can finally start doing the thing you want to and fully living your life. It's called the provisional life. This sort of strange feeling that you're not yet in your real life. For now, you're doing this thing or that, but there's always the fantasy that at some point in future, the real thing will come about.
I think we are, even maybe more of us that want to admit it, I think we are all right there in that provisional life that once we have the job, once we have the house, once we have the money or whatever, then that's when our life will start. Wrong. I just came through that realization, here not long ago for myself. I mean, believe it or not, I'm coming up on 31 years old, and I realized that from 25 to 30 years old, I mean, all that went fast. It would take me sitting down and really, really thinking about it to think of even 5 or 10 highlights in those past 5 years for myself. And so, yeah, that idea of the provisional life, that once we have the job or once we have the money, that's when our life will start. I mean, that's one of the things I've tried to become very, very more conscious of within myself is, today is the day, because we all know it. You can get on the highway and your life is over. And you don't want to be that individual that was like, well, damn, I was really waiting for that job promotion, and then I knew life was going to get going, or I was really waiting for that trip, and that's when my life was going to start. No, I mean, life starts today, and tomorrow's not guaranteed. So
there is a kind of urgency that I think we could all do with. And that's not to put pressure on people so that they feel like a failure if they fall short. It's not to deny the fact that people have got real, legitimate resource and time constraints that mean that they can't do a thing. But don't wait, because life really is happening right now. And I can't think of many times when you're going to regret trying to make something happen now. I guess one other thing.
Yeah, right there, I mean, that's why, for me, my goal is very, very simple. I've always sat here and told myself, I bet I'd be pretty good at doing a YouTube channel, or I'd be pretty good at whatever it may be. Going back to the beginning, show me the evidence. Show me the freaking evidence. And so, right here, even if it's for nobody, it's more for myself. Let me show myself the evidence. 52, or not, let's not even say 52, let's say 48 videos this year, 2026. There's my evidence. And we'll just go from there, because tomorrow's not a guarantee. And so to keep sitting there thinking, as soon as I have the money to rent a studio, and as soon as I can get one of those cool LED lights that, or let me point it, one of those cool LED lights that podcasters have and stuff that have my name on it and stuff, that's when I'm going to start this. But it's like I said in the beginning, I have the microphone, I have the camera. Anymore, most of us have a dang camera right here in our back pocket. I think Chris started out by shooting videos with his iPhone. So, and he's, I think, ranked in the top 10 of podcasts, top 3 for his demographic of self-help, motivational podcasts, whatever you call it. So, there's just no excuse at this point. It's just show me the evidence.
We have a closing tradition where the last guest leaves a question for the next, not knowing who they're leaving it for. And the question left for you is quite relevant.
And I actually like how he finishes this out. So I'm going to finish this out because I've been going a little bit over an hour now. So yeah, I appreciate you all hanging out with me. I don't know if any of my thoughts made sense. If I made sense. Again, I know absolutely nothing, but hopefully you took something away from this. I highly recommend watching this full video. Here, I'll scroll up on it a little bit. It's Chris Williamson, Fix This One Habit, and 2026 will be your best year. The Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett. I'll link it at the bottom of this as always. But yeah, aside from that, I appreciate you all. And let's finish out with
what is the most important component of human joy and endeavor that you believe must be preserved in priority?
Oh, wonderful. I think agency. I think the belief that you have the ability to impact your surroundings. Because the opposite of agency is you basically holding your hands up and saying, I'm at the mercy of the world. You happen to life. Life doesn't happen to you.
Chris, thank you.
I like that. I like that a lot. You happen to life. Life doesn't happen to you. So, again, Thank you guys for hanging out. I appreciate it. I'm Jovani Gonzales. Peace.